Senator, the breaking news, the pick of Congressman Matt Gaetz to be the next U.S. Attorney General. Your reaction?
Well, I was walking off the Senate floor just moments ago when the news was announced. You could literally hear the jaws dropping to the floor of Republican senators who are now going to be in a position to stand up to Donald Trump in a way that they have been unwilling to. I mean, listen, Matt Gaetz is dangerously unqualified, but that's not the worst of it. Gaetz has been Trump's chief defender when it comes to Trump's assault on democracy, his attempt to overthrow the government on January 6th. And he has openly called for the abolition of law enforcement agencies if they don't get in line with conservative political priorities. This is going to be a red alert moment for American democracy. Matt Gaetz is being nominated for one reason and one reason only, because he will implement Donald Trump's transition of the Department of Justice from an agency that stands up for all of us to an agency that is simply an arm of the White House designed to persecute and prosecute Trump's political enemies.
So, I gotta wonder, could it be that Donald Trump selected Matt Gaetz as the Attorney General because they both have something in common with each other? The DOJ. That's right. That's what Trump and Gaetz have in common with each other. The Department of Justice, which would probably be better coined as the Department of Injustice. But before we get into it, don't forget to like this video, comment, share, subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell, watch the video all the way to the end. Now let's get into it. So you know how the internet is. Everything just floats around and you got to try and decipher what's true and what's not true. Now I'm going to say allegedly on my channel at all times, not saying that everything is absolutely true, but let's check out some information regarding first. You know what? First we're going to do is check out the Clefty Lefty's response to Matt Gaetz. And then we're going to get into how Carroll and other allegations against Matt Gaetz may have made Trump select Matt Gaetz for Attorney General. Just thinking, just an opinion. Take a look.
Senator, the breaking news, the pick of Congressman Matt Gaetz to be the next U.S. Attorney General. Your reaction?
Well, I was walking off the Senate floor just moments ago when the news was announced. You could literally hear the jaws dropping to the floor of Republican senators who are now going to be in a position to stand up to Donald Trump in a way that they have been unwilling to. I mean, listen, Matt Gaetz is dangerously unqualified, but that's not the worst of it. Gaetz has been Trump's chief defender when it comes to Trump's assault on democracy, his attempt to overthrow the government on January 6th. And he has openly called for the abolition of law enforcement agencies if they don't get in line with conservative political priorities. This is going to be a red alert moment for American democracy. Matt Gaetz is being nominated for one reason and one reason only, because he will implement Donald Trump's transition of the Department of Justice from an agency that stands up for all of us to an agency that is simply an arm of the White House designed to persecute and prosecute Trump's political enemies.
That's a Democrat. I didn't even bother to really check his name out. And this is Communist News Network, CNN, with Jake Tapper interviewing this lawmaker. Everything is made to look a certain way in the propaganda media. And I don't have to tell conservative viewers that. You all already know that. They'll put someone up who is seemingly credible, even a member of the same exact party, like maybe a rhino, like a Liz Cheney, and say things like, oh, he must really be bad. Donald Trump must really be bad because Liz Cheney, a Republican, is endorsing Kamala Harris and not Donald Trump. Sometimes you have rhinos, okay? And if you don't know what a rhino is, RINO is a Republican in name only, in case you're new to this channel. These are Democrats in disguise. So the Democrat Party has figured out a way to infiltrate the Republican Party. Boy, they're slicker than oil. You got to admit it. And the main public, the great masses of Americans, don't really realize what's going on. Half of us do, the other half does not. But the growing number of knowledge-based people is growing larger and larger every day, which is why Donald Trump is the 47th president going to be. He's president-elect. Now, I just wanted to show you that because they're saying Matt Gaetz is dangerously unqualified. And, I think it's because for what that lawmaker just said, he has been a bulldog in support of Donald Trump. And let me just tell you this little snippet of information. Matt Gaetz was investigated by the DOJ, Department of Justice, for improper behavior with underage girls. Yes, and the whole Jean Carroll thing with Donald Trump. Some woman who's older than he is, and he likes younger women, Donald Trump does, which is nothing new with really rich men, and comes up with something that supposedly happened back in the mid-90s. But I want to share some more information with you, and you guys tell me what you think of it. All righty, look what we have here. It says Matt Gaetz extortion attempt. In 2021, a businessman, Stephen Alford, was investigated by the Justice Department for allegedly attempting to extort Matt Gaetz' father, Don Gaetz, a former Florida State Senate president. The investigation centered around whether Alford had a relationship with a 17-year-old girl and whether Matt Gaetz was involved, potentially violating federal trafficking laws. Guilty plea and sentencing. In November 2021, Stephen Alford pleaded guilty to one count of wire fraud in federal court in Pensacola. He was subsequently sentenced to approximately 5 years in prison in August 2022 for his role in the extortion plot. The scheme involved Alford attempting to defraud a Gaetz family member, allegedly seeking millions of dollars through a series of letters. Key events. May 2021, Justice Department investigation into a potential trafficking involving Matt Gaetz and a 17-year-old girl. And these are just key events. November 2021, Stephen Alford pleads guilty to wire fraud in federal court. August 2022, Alford sentenced to 63 months, approximately 5 years in prison, plus 3 years supervised release. Well, what do you know? All this information is out there. All that information is out there. This person pleaded guilty and is serving about 5 years in prison. So this person wanted to extort money from Don Gaetz, Matt Gaetz' father. The evil powers that be, boy, they are something else. And you got people who don't know any better, those clefty, lefty, Democrat voters going around saying, he's a predator, he's an offender, keep your underage girls away from Matt Gaetz. Well, it's been proven that that was just a farce, okay? An extortion attempt. This has nothing to it. This is a nothing burger. This is nothing. This is a very common tactic in politics. We all remember anytime someone is a man and he's going up for the Supreme Court, that they come out with these old allegations of inappropriate behavior with a woman. They did it with Clarence Thomas. Yes, they did it with him and Brett Kavanaugh. This won't be the last. They do it to people that are in their way. You got to know that. It doesn't even have to directly include politics. You remember Michael Jackson. He wanted to do a deal with Sony of some sort. I'll get the details with that and report it to you guys. And that should be very interesting. But it turns out Donald Trump even took up for Michael Jackson back then, way back in the day, saying he is not a molester. He is not. He just loves children. And because Michael Jackson didn't want to go along with the program, with the agenda, they get all these people who they probably paid to come forth and say things like, he did this to my child, he did this. People who do that, who make false allegations like that, should get the same exact punishment as people who actually are guilty of those allegations. To me, that is horrible. You ruin someone's life, separate their families, make them go through hell, spending tons of money, the embarrassment, the shame, the ostracization, and you think that that's okay? It's not okay. And it's not okay for you, E. Jean Carroll, with your book selling self. Let's check out something about E. Jean Carroll. All right, it says, and this is from a Ryan Fournier. In case you didn't know, E. Jean Carroll has accused many men of raping or assaulting her, including a babysitter's boyfriend, a dentist, a camp counselor, an unnamed college date, an unnamed boss, and CBS chief executive, Les Moonves, per the National Pulse. This is why she is not credible. And this is from January of 2024 is when that was. And then this is a little clip saying, did you know E. Jean Carroll accused 21 other people of rape? Let's check this out.
E. Jean Carroll. Now, look, I'm not saying that there aren't women out there who are victims of rape more than once. But when you start getting into, the baker's dozen territory of people who've been sexually assaulted, I'm not saying that you deserve what you're asking for, but I'm at a certain point, you maybe ask, am I a part of this equation? Or delusional? She has accused many, 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 many men throughout her life. Donald Trump's not the first. And by the way, he's not the first wealthy guy who she accused of this. And she stands to benefit, right? Because she has worked a job as a writer where she benefits from publicity. So
what does that tell you guys? Okay. I know the immediate response is just to take up for the woman, but you do have some hideous women out here that will accuse an innocent man if she can benefit off of it in some sort of way. Oh, that's just what they do. Those demons, those democrats, those evil people. And like I just said a moment ago, I believe women who falsely accuse men of crimes like this, and then it is proved that they were lying, should get the result, the same punishment, same exact punishment, no less than a man who actually did these things. Now, I didn't know anything about the Matt Gaetz thing. It looks like that was just an extortion attempt. Extortion of millions upon millions of dollars. And it looks like this whole thing with E. Jean Carroll is just a way to get attention and financially benefit and sell your book. You heifer, you. Let's check something else out.
We can start with E. Jean Carroll. She allegedly, 3 decades earlier, said she was sexually assaulted by Donald Trump. She couldn't remember the year. It was inexact. She couldn't remember what she wore. In fact, she said she wore a particular dress that wasn't even in production at the time that the event supposedly took place. Stranger still, the scenario that she gave was almost exactly the same as a plot of a TV show, almost exactly the same, of a person who goes into the same department store, goes to a dressing room, and supposedly is sexually assaulted a celebrity. She couldn't answer any questions about the actual details. The suit that she filed in front of a favorable judge was funded entirely by Reid Hoffman, a mega billionaire and Biden donor. So it was highly irregular.
This is too much. I just am so glad to know that, well, I knew it anyway because God had already shown me that everything they got against Trump is just false. It's a hoax. It's made up. It's totally manufactured. But this is what the Democrat voters go on saying. We got this kind of a person, a rapist in the White House. He's going to be in the White House. He's a rapist. They're going along with the propaganda media. This is very telling. A dress that wasn't manufactured yet, couldn't remember the details. A plot similar to something in a TV show. You can't make this stuff up. You can't make it up. But I want to share something else with you. This is defamation, even if you operate on the basis that corrupt Judge Kaplan adjudicated the jury's finding no on Trump having great E. Jean Carroll, colloquially, could be construed as grape. Screenshot for evidence. Enjoy the lawsuit, Billy. How much money do you have left? And it says, this is the paperwork right here. Did the judge not look at the jury verdict form? The verdict form says, did Mrs. Carroll prove by a preponderance of the evidence that Mr. Trump raped Ms. Carroll? It said no. It said no. And of course, if you go down, it says Mr. Trump did this thing to her about the actually abused. It says yes on that one. But God told me that that was not a thing, because think about it. You're in this major department store, this high-end department store in the middle of the day, and no one hears you crying for help. No one hears you screaming. No one hears anything. And then you don't say anything until decades upon decades later. And he's already served a term as president. You don't think that's suspicious? Antennas going off all over the place. There you have it. This looks like orchestrated stuff. And with all the other indictments and everything else, and the impeachments also, and the whole orchestration of what happened at the Capitol, you know what I mean? Everything is orchestrated. This is political fodder, going after your opponents or people that don't do what you want them to do. And it could be members of your own party. Remember when Eric Adams, the mayor of New York City, didn't walk lockstep to what Biden and Harris wanted him to do? He made a complaint about the illegal immigrants in New York City, and they go after him. Now, he was doing dirt. Just to be fair, Mayor Eric Adams, he was doing dirt. But the Biden administration just let him do it. And they were okay with it. As you can do dirt, as long as you do what the evil powers that be tell you to do, you're fine. You won't face any consequences. But when you start doing the right thing, having some critiques and a mind of your own and critical thinking skills and saying things against them, which we have free speech, I thought it is all right. Then, all of a sudden, Eric Adams is in trouble. And so Donald Trump won't go along with the machine. Matt Gaetz won't go along with the machine. Tulsi Gabbard, RFK Jr., if you don't go along with the machine, they come after you. That is a fact. Sad but true. The people that want to be a bulldog for righteousness. And yes, Matt Gaetz has routinely, unapologetically taken up for former President Donald J. Trump. He has done that repeatedly. And now they're after him. And it was proven that that was an extortion attempt. So nothing to it, a nothing burger. So nothing to all of this. We should automatically know by now that allegations from decades ago that just all of a sudden conveniently pop up out of nowhere, and they're like decades old, there's something to it. Just like it was with Brett Kavanaugh, just like it was with Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. Nothing to it. Just people trying to use the system to get what they want, even if they have to make up allegations of horrible conduct. Isn't that the way it goes? Oh, you can get away with the horrible conduct. Just walk in line with the evil powers that be and do whatever they say. Well, that's it for today's video. Don't forget to like this video. Make sure you smash that like button, smash it hard. Comment, share, subscribe to my channel. Hit that notification bell. Be blessed. Love God, your families, these United States of America, and march on, warriors.